research will be more in we can see the clinical validation part because that is lacking in India. I can take the example of yourself. I think Gabify is very much into
You
autism.
walk us through the actual life cycle of an ICMR or AIMS funded research? Like,
It will be incorporated. It should be having an impact on the policy level. It should have some impact on the. I think you will be the India's first clinically validated startup. So congratulations for that. We are validating you.
hello everyone, this is Tanishka, your host, and welcome to the very first episode of Let's Talk Special, a podcast where we talk about inclusion, innovation, and real systems shaping healthcare and education in India. We're kicking things off with a topic that doesn't always get enough attention: what happens between research and real life. India has some incredible medical research happening through institutions like ICMR and AIMS, where scientists are constantly studying developmental conditions and developing technologies that can support people with disabilities. But here's the big question: how does something that starts in a research lab actually reaches the people who need it? That's exactly what we're going to explore in this episode, from lab to life. So, to help us understand this journey, I am joined by someone who works closely with these intersections of research, medicine, and technology, Dr. Salaj Rana. Dr. Rana, thank you so much for being here and being a part of our very first episode. My first question to you is, I actually wanted to know, what is your favorite research till date? Like, one piece of research that you've liked the most, like, or worked on, or seen.
So the favorite piece of research will be more in we can see the clinical validation part because that is lacking in India. So clinical validation means that making the product more of effective, more safe, and more compliant enough to reach to the market from lab to life, which the title says itself. So the product which is there, which has been developed by any of the startup, needs to be clinically validated by if that particular startup is working toward in the aspect of any kind of medical healthcare or assistive healthcare. So the favorite part is very much in clinical validation, where we try to make the startup more compliant enough to be pitch ready in front of investors, as well as more safe enough to be there and gaining the trust between the healthcare providers as well as the target customers which they are targeting. So that is one thing which I like the most and I do the most. We are currently having more than 10 assistive technology currently being validated in National Center for Assistive Technology at times.
And from those, like, you just told us there are 10 research going on. So, like, which one has you liked the most of them? Like, which
Uh,
one do you think has, like, the will have the most impact on the society?
So impact doesn't basically can we cannot define the definition of impact in terms of any startup definition. It's more of any kind of healthcare burden that the startup is targeting. So I can take the example of yourself. I think Gabify is very much into autism ADHD, a very good platform, which will be definitely will helpful for the doctors as well as clinicians as well as the parents as well for getting the child very much being identified at the earliest stages. So the treatment protocol acts accordingly. So other examples which we can say that they are more in locomotor space, visual, hearing, cognition, communication, and self-care.
So, can you walk us through the actual life cycle of an ICMR or AIMS funded research, like, from the moment like the approval is granted to where ideally it should be reaching people? Like, where do the handoffs happen? Where do typically things get dropped?
So before going to the implementation part, we need to understand how to apply to ICMR. So ICMR funding is more of a grant in aid funding, and that is in the small, intermediate, and Center for Advanced Research kind of big chunk of fund which can be applied. So more from the academician point of view, we can say that the universities which have the zero certificate, the NGOs which have the zero certificate can apply, where whatever healthcare burden you are targeting, so automatic you just have to make the proposal accordingly. It should be scientific enough, it should be ethical, it should sound ethically very good, it should be very good enough to get if you are, for example, applying for a product or a cost, that the cost needs to be defined very well, it should be very effective, or and if it's a drug discovery, so then the discovery part should be very much innovative. So there are many more things which need to be defined, is more towards the bringing the aim, objective, rationale behind it, novelty behind it, and the background which your research is there, which you can apply. But the implementation part, in terms of implementation, once you get approval, once you get funded, so after that the delivery part of that particular research needs to be defined, where it will be incorporated, it should be having an impact on the policy level, it should have some impact on the provisioning level at the national part. So implementation will be defined if the your research will be completed enough, and it should have some policy implications around it. So that's how ICMR funding acts. We are also funded by ICMR only. We are running a center called National Center for Assistive Technology. So that funding is more towards the getting the startup clinically validated, as well as more into incubation and acceleration support of, and convert that into a particular MVP kind of product.
Okay.
There are,
So, sir,
basically there are many types of funding in ICMR. So more of product type research, academic research, then policy research, then discovery research, delivery research, descriptive research. So there are many things. It's on the website.
like, what is the percent? Like, what do you think? Like, what percent of ICMR funded research or AIMS funded researches that actually, make it to the society? Like, actually make it to the people?
So I think you must have heard the example of COVID, right? So we were there. I was also there in the team. So we have uh, changed the healthcare system very fast, we very rapidly, and the funding was allotted, getting establishment of RT-PCR labs. So that's infrastructure fund, getting MRUs on place, that is medical rural development funds, then getting the research on discovery research, as something you are discovering, so that research is funded. So there are many ways to get that impact on a people level, but around the people is is a centric word, but around that there is product, provision, policy, and personnel. So policy implications should be there, some products should be innovated, some personnel should be trained, but healthcare providers, and the provisioning part, something should be provisioned itself at the rural or urban levels. So that's a 5P approach we say, which is P is the people centric, is the P which is in the center.
Also, so like, when people hear ICMR or AIMS, they often think like COVID research or drug trials, right? Nobody really thinks about assistive technology. But what is the ICMR actual mandate when it comes to assistive technology, rehabilitation, and disability? Like, is assistive technology even on their radar?
Yeah, of course. So basically, the healthcare budget itself says that 3% of the budget should be devoted to assistive tech only. So ICMR is an apex body in research, and whatever there in the research in any of the academic institutes or the medical institute or funding institute, so 3% of the budget is being defined for the assistive tech. And as ICMR, we are the largely ICMR is largely funding the assistive tech institutes of India, which includes the IIT Delhi, IIT Madras, AIMS Delhi, and other 5 more aims we have funded. So we are the largest network of assistive technology funded institutes in India. So yes, of course, and this is a very huge fund we are getting for 5 years, then again 5 years. And we are very fortunate enough that we got the fund in 2022, and we are continuing it right now.
That's great, actually. Okay. So, sir, what would it take for ICMR to become a genuine driver, like not just a funder of accessible assistive technology in India?
So ICMR is a leading research institute and funding institute. So of course they are a genuine driver. So Ministry of Health is DHR, under DHR is being funded. There are other organizations also which came recently, like last year called ANRF, that is Anusandhan Research Foundation, which is again RDI fund, and other fund schemes are there. But of course, ICMR was founded in 1911, so we are there for more than 100 years. So that's defined itself that we are funding each and everything aspect of India's medical research and biomedical research.
Okay, so like talking about AIMS, like AIMS is unique, right? It's a research institution, it's a teaching hospital, it's a public health care touch point. Like, but in context of assistive technology, how does AIMS bridge the lab and the clinic?
So we have a very good model in AIMS called SIB, that is School of International Biodesign. So it was started 14-15 years back. Then that clearly says that from ideation or paper idea to the market, all the TRL levels will be supported, and we are hiring the fellows, and we are giving them a salary. There is incubation support, acceleration support. Similar model is being there for the assistive tech. We are running very successfully that. Every year more 2 to 3 innovations we are coming up, new innovations in assistive technology. We are validating those. We are validating the external startups also. We are also giving the support and handhold for the training part. We are also giving the research protocols and getting the paper published for the newer things coming up in assistive tech in India, as well as the WHO external global level. So yes, we have a very good incubation model in AIMS, which generally there in the private and the corporate world.
Okay, so sir, are there any examples where AIMS has successfully taken a technology from research to the regular clinical use?
Yeah, why not? So there are many examples. So assistive tech, which we say the Sparsh Mind, which is an assistive tech, which was there as a neuro rehabilitation VR modeling. Then there are other examples with like Hipro, which is there. Then there are many examples which is there with a medical also. So all the things can be found out on the AIMS website. So that is in the School of International Biodesign, which in the NCAT we are currently running. So it's been 2 years only. So next year you will get to know all the technologies, which is IPR. We have also filed the IPR, and it will be in the market soon.
Okay, so could AIMS serve as a national model for assistive tech pilot programs? Or like, are there any conversations happening in that direction?
Yeah. So we are funding the uh, let's say national model does itself defines that anything which is coming under the assistive tech and any idea which is being generated by any individual in India, it should be supported at every level, or at some level which we can handhold the person and he can develop the technology itself from the market. So if you are at the TRL level paper idea, we are there. If you are at the MVP stage, we are there. If you are at the if you want clinical validation, we are there. If you are want some market insights, we have some VCs on board, which step up ventures like Chandigarh Angel Network on board. So it the support will be coming from there. If you need any of kind of clinical immersion in the departments, we are there. If you need any kind of IT support, IIT Delhi is one of our partners, so we can get the support from there. So anything which is been required by a startup, we can support that person or individual or startup.
So, sir, there is something that actually frustrates a lot of people that India produces brilliant research, yet our assistive technology market is dominated by imports. Like, what does innovation, like, why does innovation stay inside institutions? Like, is it incentive structures, IP barriers, fear of commercialization, or like, is it something else?
So first fear it's itself in the mindset of the entrepreneurs. So they they often think that assistive technology can only be funded by a CSR. That is wrong. So you know the example of Tainor, right? They are unicorns. You know the example of other assistive tech like Antaras, Fidos. They are assistive techs. Neomotion, assistive tech. Torchet, assistive tech. All are unicorns. They will be soon unicorns in the nearby future. So combination of CSR, little bit support of CSR, little bit support of grant in it is required, but mostly the mindset of the entrepreneur should be like a business guy. So it should be more of a getting the equity dissolved in the market. It should be more of a getting the business side of it as export import or whatever. We have in India we have brilliant minds. The
Hmm.
only issue we are getting is more towards getting the mindset of the entrepreneur to get immersed into the assistive type because they are not seeing that much examples, successful examples in the market. But yes, assistive tech definition itself is very much, you should be very clear that it is not for person with disability. It is for person with functional impairment. You are improving the quality of life. Whatever comes in that, it's assistive tech. Like chronic, like burns injury trauma, chronic diseases. Then PWD is one of the sector. Elderly care. There are many things. Mental illnesses. So you are only not for disability. Disability is only hardly 15% of assistive tech. There are other sectors which you can come. So the getting the mindset of the individual is very important.
So, what would need to change, whether in policy or in academia or in funding, for researchers to feel genuinely supported in taking their work into the real world?
So there is nothing needs to be changed. The bus that needs to be connected. Simple. So there people organization like ANCAT, Alimco, ICMR, and IITs. There are other NGOs, Mobility India. They're all there. You can take the support, but all the dots should be connected and should be at the central platform to get themselves aware. So awareness is one of the major problem, and we are trying from our self that how much percentage of population we can aware to get the assistive tech, to get into the assistive tech domain.
So, like, if we get ambitious, like, should India have a dedicated national assistive technology distribution network, like something like how essential medicines are distributed, like where
Why not?
validated technologies automatically enter a pathway to reach users? Like, what would
Why not?
that look like?
Why not? Why not? So we have made in 2023 we have made a list called National List of Essential Assistive Products. That time we have seen more than 300 individuals were there in the Delphi method as a scientific exercise. So we have seen the power of assistive technology at that time. So they have also demanded the same that there should be one central platform which can come where all the provisioning can happen, where all the need statement can be identified, where all the cost can be compared and person can buy directly. We are working on it. So soon something will be there. But meanwhile, if you can see a small pilot demo from a private ecosystem that is Torchet called Enable Mart. You can see that. So they have come across very beautiful uh, uh, platform which supports many of the assistive tech, small to medium to high cost assistive techs in India.
Okay, so like our company, like Gabify, right? Like company, even though like other companies like Gabify, they're already building distribution and supporting ecosystems for assistive tech. Like, could that model scale nationally, or does it require a government backbone?
No, I think you are doing good, and you also require the handholding of national stakeholders. That is okay, but I think in the end, the main target of Gabify as well as Indian government is only to reach the last mile, right? To only to identify an early screen. So the mechanism can be different, but the ultimate aim of our autism and ADHD screening and getting them rehabilitated as well as some prevention as well as some treatment protocol can be done is the ultimate aim. So yes, of course, I think you will be the India's first clinically validated startup. So congratulations for that. We are validating you. But again, the thing is, once the data will come, we also will get the help from the startup AI perspective of that particular data. That what should be done more in the policy side of it.
Okay, so sir, if you had to, diagnose the pipeline like a patient, like where's the bleeding happening? Is it as the research design, at clinical trials, at regulation, at funding, awareness, or is it like something entirely different?
So major bleeding, which I think is awareness only. So because we have started the clinical validation 1 year back, so only 10 we have received till date. But now the multipliers are different, so we are receiving more than 20 startups in a month to get them validated. Of course, we cannot take everyone. We There are certain protocols need to be followed. Everyone cannot pass that particular protocol. But yes, uh, awareness is the key, which I think is the most. We have to stop that particular bleeding point. And the second bleeding point is more towards the market side. So getting the investors more assistive friendly, assistive tech friendly is the uh, thing which we need to work more in the future years.
Okay, so like which of these bottlenecks you feel is the most solvable with political will and which requires a long systematic shift?
Political will, I think these two aware one the major is awareness can be very much solvable,
Hmm.
and more is required the market side. So market awareness, market getting investors on board, getting market on board, getting export import houses on board will take time. It will take another 5 years to get them on board properly with like a medtech ecosystem.
So, like, what gives you hope? Like, is there a development, whether in policy or society or technology, that makes you believe that the next decade could be a genuinely different decade for families who are in need of assistive technology?
It's more of a provision, which better provision, not distribution, the deployment. So deployment should be taken into account, not the distribution only, and getting them more aware about the assistive tech. So deployment will include everything, getting the unmet need identified, getting the particular fitting, customization, everything. Then the person will be very happy. The feedbacks and everything involved. So from distribution to deployment is the shift we require.
Thank you for being here, Dr. Rana. This brings to the end of today's episode. We've learned a lot. So, yes, also, obviously, like, thank you again. Like, this was our first episode, and I was very happy to talk to you. So, yes, thank you so much for sharing your insights with us today and helping us understand how the journey begins from lab and gets to life. It actually works.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you so
much,
much
sir.
and all the best.
Thank